fans of Drive to Survive, the Netflix series, it takes you behind the scenes in the world of Formula One, will certainly know our next guest. He's one of the stars.
He's the breakout. He is the star.
The breakout star.
Going to have a musical about him, all sorts.
Yeah, that could be a musical.
Good idea, isn't it?
But it's a reluctant breakout star, and he has actually not watched Drive to Survive. But the book is called Surviving to Drive, a year inside Formula One. And it's the team principal, Guenther Steiner. Good afternoon, Guenther. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
What do you make of all this adulation? Even in the gallery next door, our producer and assistant producer are real fanboys. They're very, very excited.
They don't normally pay attention to what we're doing at all, but they are like all eyes on now.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. I don't know why, to be honest, but you said I didn't watch the Drive to Survive, which is true, but I read the book.
You read the book, of course.
I had to read it because
I didn't know the book.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, when did you start to notice that? I mean, I think you said you could sort of move around the paddock, sort of no one would really bother you apart from the sort of hardcore F1 fans. But then suddenly everybody wants a piece of you. Was there a moment when you thought, did you know it was the documentary that was doing this, that was making you more recognisable?
Yeah, it was pretty clear. And the first time internally, when it came out, we had a F1 Commission meeting where all the other team principals are, the CEO of FOM, the president of the FIA, and I come into the room, and everybody starts to talk about it, and I was a little bit, what is happening here? Have you seen it? No, I haven't seen it, guys. I didn't see it, so, but you're this and you're that, and I was like, almost what have I done in there that they're all looking at me and talking about it? So, you get a little bit, wow, maybe I've done something bad here. Maybe I shouldn't have done it, which maybe I think I shouldn't be doing it. But there I realized there's something on, but I decided not to watch it. And then shortly after, we flew to Melbourne for the first race in that year. And, then people in the aeroplane, because there was obviously some people which went to the race and they all knew all of a sudden who I was, and they all know me by name. It was like very strange. And in the beginning, when I walked around with my daughter, she's now 14, so she was maybe 9 years old, she said, do you know this guy? When they said, hey, Guenther, and I didn't know, obviously, who the guy was, but he knew. I said, no, Greta, and I had to explain that I don't know these people. It's your fault, I know these people,
Daddy's famous now.
That's it. How do you feel about it? I mean, has it made life a little bit more difficult, say, just moving around track there on race days and stuff?
Yeah, it is a little bit more difficult because and you want to give the fans something back when they recognize you.
Yeah.
I'm not arrogant. You stop and you take a picture and so on. And if you want to avoid them, you just don't go there. You find another way out of it. But if fans are around, I normally, if they want a picture or an autograph, I give it. But it is. You need to think more where you and when you move.
Yeah, it's effectively a sort of diary of last season, a sort of telling the story of everything that went on. And it was, I mean, from the publisher's point of view, it was an eventful, interesting season. So it kind of worked out well for you all, really, in terms of the book, didn't it?
Yeah, because obviously the idea came up in 21, and we had no idea what was coming in 22. Yeah. And that was one of my things. I said it could be a that boring year, and what we write. I said let's start, and then we see where it goes. And they told me there will never be a boring year for you, Guenther. And I said, there will be at some stage. And it worked out not to be a boring year last year, the complete opposite. It was quite a eventful year.
Yeah. I think what probably makes you very popular as well is that, we wanted to see behind the helmet, as they said. And often F1 can feel sterilised. It can feel a bit dull at times. And your team, because it's fallible and because you're a character, makes it... You show the cracks, and the cracks let the light in, so that you make it exciting.
Yeah, I think that's what any sport should be, because the fans are just coming if there's something interesting going on. We cannot race for ourselves. Yeah. I mean, so we need to race for the fans, and we see when we show the fans what we are actually doing, without sterilizing it, without taking away the interesting stuff, because maybe it is uncomfortable for somebody, then the people like it more. And that, I think, what Drive to Survive has done for Formula One. There is a lot more people watching it now, a lot of young people. The demographic has changed. They got younger, so which is good for the sport, which is good for everybody in the sport as well.
Yeah. You can swear spectacularly in a third language, which we salute you for, Guenther.
I mean, not now. He's not giving you.
No, he's not. This is not the one, Josh. But the book is written in the earthy style, shall we say, that you often speak in. It's it is a bit sweary, but I think there is. But it's I don't know what it is. What's the word? They say it's not funny and it's not clever, but I think it is.
Yeah.
But you've embraced it, haven't you? I mean, I suppose in heated moments, it's a high pressure business. And in that environment, people use what we call industrial language.
Yeah, and I grew up learning English in an industrial environment, so I know how you guys speak when you're in private,
Yes.
So, and I just cannot see when and what not to do. But obviously, on interviews, I never use that language, because I was told so not to do. But I think all in all, that's what it is. It's honest, and obviously sometimes I say things in the heat of the moment and in the excitement, which if I think about 2 hours later, I would completely rephrase it. But in the moment, when you're competing, I just get like this. I get emotional about it, in one way or another, and the language changes. So, but as long as I don't really offend anybody, a person, I think it's not okay, but it's okay.
You have a rallying background, don't you, as a driver?
Not as a driver,
but as a rallying background. But how did you find the difference between rallying and F1?
It's very different. And when I was in rallying, obviously the world was a different place as well, because that was in 86 to about 2000. I was in rallying, so a lot of things have changed. But rallying is more like at the time there was more adventure involved. You went out to countries, you went around in the country because you were competing on normal streets, and they were closed off, and then we are competing, while F1 is competing on racetracks, and it's a lot more insulated. Where you are in F1, I go to the event, going from the airport to the hotel to the racetrack to hotel, back to the airport. That was it. While in rallying, at the time, you were around maybe a month with my job, what I did there in a different country, and you met people, you talk with people, and that doesn't happen anymore with normal people just outside on the street, because you were waiting for the race car to come along and that you could service it, So that doesn't happen in F1 anymore.
Sure. There's a very powerful quote on the back of the book. It says, people talk about football managers being under pressure. Trust me, that's nothing. Pressure is watching one of your drivers hit a barrier at 190 miles per hour and exploding before your eyes. And I mean, there's an awful lot. We see in the show the pressure that's on you. You're the one they all go to. And the performance of the car is all around you and your team. Yet at the bottom of it is this jeopardy that it doesn't matter how safe you make this sport, how hard you try to make this sport safe, it's never going to be 100% safe, is it?
No, it will never. It cannot be. I mean, it's just like there is always an element of risk. I think the sport has developed a lot. It got a lot safer over the last 100 years. Let's say every year is something better, but you can never guarantee safety. I mean, that is part of racing cars and motorsport.
Yeah. When that happened it was Roman Grosjean, wasn't it, who crashed? Does time slow down? Do they suddenly become very human again to you? How does it work as a principle?
It's very strange, because it's when it's over, it's a very short period, because as I said, I'm doing this a long time, and once you realize that this is your car or your team's car, and what is happening, if he doesn't come out in the next 20 to 30 seconds, he's not going to come out, as much as you don't like to think of that. But in my position, you have to think of that, and then what you do next. But while you think that, and while you realize it, he was out of the car. So we got lucky that he could get out, and then you just think, how do we communicate now to people that he's safe, even if he has got a broken leg or a broken arm. I care, but it's not something... because he could be not here anymore if he could get out. So it was a good moment. So in one thing, you think it never ends, this story, but in on the other side, it's over very quick.
Yeah, I mean, what about this season so far, Guenther? What have you made of it from your team's point of view? Hulkenberg's had a great drive in Australia, didn't he, for you?
Yeah, in general, we are doing good, we put ourselves the target to be better than last year. I think everybody else does that. It's not something very clever, to be honest, but that's what you do, and I think we are better. But what is now in F1, the competition is very good. There is no a weak or bad team, how you want to call it. There is no backmarker anymore. You've got the 4 strong teams this year. It was always 3, now it's 4. And then you got the rest. There is no midfield and backmarkers anymore. There is just the next 6. And every weekend you need to do a 100% perfect job to get points. And that is what counts for us, because in the moment we know we cannot win. Hopefully one day we can win, but in the moment we cannot. So it's just like we made a step forward, but we have to fight hard for it.
The book features many of your frustrations with your driver that you replaced this year, Mick Schumacher, with Nico Hülkenberg. I mean, it must be difficult. It must be quite a big call. I mean, was it a ruthless business? If someone in your eyes is not performing, you just have to make that call and make a change.
No, on that side, I sat back and thought, what is the best for the team to move forward, and we are still the youngest team in Formula One. We are only in our 8th season, and we needed experience injected into the team, and getting a driver which has done it before, like Nico. He was in midfield teams in different ones, and he has done it. He brought the teams forward. So at some stage, for me, it was like we need to do something, because we cannot spend time developing drivers. And I'm not focusing only on Mick in general. We need experienced drivers. We need experience here that we make a step. And up to now, I must say, the investment has paid off. We got an experienced driver. He's taking us forward in the moment, and that is all what I wanted to happen with the change of driver.
You said four teams, the 4 top teams, but I mean Red Bull are dominating, and there's been some concerns really around that. It's never. I mean, it's always kind of been thus. But are you slightly concerned that they are so strong this year?
No, I don't. I'm not concerned. I mean, they are strong. I mean, I don't deny that, but I think the other ones will catch up. I think there will be a catch up, and we had seasons before where some teams were dominating, and the championship was still interesting. But I think this year people will catch up, because everybody has got a budget cap. We are all working on the same budget. So, Red Bull cannot keep on getting better and better. They will, but also the other ones, and maybe the other ones can make bigger steps, the other strong teams. So, obviously, that's what I think. But even if they are in front, there will be a point when they have weaknesses. Like every domination up to now ended at some stage, So, I think with the sport where it is now, you cannot have a domination for 5 or 6 years like we maybe had before, in the years before.
Yeah. We've got that kind of romantic story. I know your focus is on Haas, of course, but the Fernando Alonso at Aston Martin is quite a kind of romantic story for the sport, that he's kind of holding his own currently.
Yeah, and everybody knows who is in Formula One and who watches Formula One. Fernando is a driver with, he has got skills none of the other drivers has got. He can, in my opinion, I always say he doesn't need a strategist or anything. He can manage his race from inside the car. He's so good in it, and he's very talented driving as well. So that's why he's so strong. And obviously, the over 40 years old have it's just made him better instead of going backwards. So it's quite amazing. And I think the call he made last year to move team, it worked out to be pretty good for him.
Yeah. And I suppose onwards and upwards for your team, you'd love Nico Hülkenberg to get that podium, wouldn't you? I think that's something you'll be working. What's his reward? Should he do that? Have you thought about that?
I think he doesn't need a reward, because I think he's one of these guys which, for him to getting a podium would prove a point, because everybody, I don't think it's anybody would like to say, oh, you are the guy which is Formula One longest without the podium, and he made points and everything. He just he always slipped off of the podium. So getting him to the podium with our car for sure would be a special moment for us, because it would be our first one. Sure. And also for him, because it would be his first one.
Great story,
it would be a good story. And I think there would be no financial reward needed for him to get there,
And is this a one-off, Guenther, the book, or will you be doing regular diaries? Or you think this
Strictly,
is
can we see you on Strictly, Guenther, or the Great British Bake Off? No, none of that?
No, none of this. In the moment, that's it. I need to go back to work,
Okay, yeah, exactly. Enough show business.
Exactly, enough show business,
Well, we wish you well with the team and with the book, Guenther. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
appreciate it. Thank you,
Guenther Steiner's book, Surviving to Drive, is published now, and it's out in hardback. And go and pick up your copy now. Fascinating insights, published by Penguin. Fascinating insight into the world of F1.